It feels good to know that you're awesome, right? If you're here tonight, I want you guys to know that you are awesome. You're doing a great job. You're going to have a great week.
Steven Yee Mac, I'm a candidate for a judge in Superior Court. Thank you for having me. I look forward to speaking and introducing myself.
Hello, I'm Steve Placido. I'm running for the Sanchez Valley Municipal Water District for re-election. I've been on the board for 8 years.
Nicolas, Kiet, Quach, and I'm currently the president of the Alhambra Library Board and current candidate for that shitty water board. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jose Sanchez, and I'm currently a council member in Monterey Park, District 3. I'm running for re-election. Those of you guys who know me know that I've been running, that I've been a council member for 2 years. I'm also a teacher in the community, so I teach at Alhambra High School, and my wife teaches at Municipal. Thank you.
Thank you. Over here. Anyone else running for office here?
Hi everyone, my name is Elizabeth Yee. I'm the current chair of the Monterey Park Business Improvement District Commission, and I'm running for Monterey Park City Council District 2. Thank you.
Hey everyone, my name is Trustee Nicolas, Quach. I'm the president of the Alhambra Library Board and current candidate for the SJV Water Board. I'm super excited to be joining you all today. I've lived in Alhambra my entire life. I am the son of Vietnamese refugees. My parents came here in the 1970s. They originally settled in the city of Compton, but ultimately they grew up and they lived in the city of Alhambra. They went to Alhambra High School, they went to local public schools. I'm proud to be running as a product of local public schools here. I began my educational career at Fremont Elementary, to Garfield Elementary, to Ramona Elementary, to Alhambra High School, and now I'm at the University of Southern California. The reason why I got into politics and I never thought I'd ever be here today is because of my experiences growing up. Because government didn't work for my family, my parents fled corrupt government. And when they came to America, they didn't trust government. They didn't trust that government could work for them. So whenever there were broken traffic lights, broken street lights, potholes, graffiti, they wouldn't call the city and ask them to fix it. They'd wait until someone else did. When the trash wasn't being picked up, my mom wouldn't call Republic Services and say, please pick up our trash. We pay for it. She would grab the trash out of the trash can, load up into her car, and drive around town looking for a dumpster to put it in because she didn't trust government. And my story is not unique. When I tell folks my story about growing up here in the city of Alhambra, they're not from Alhambra, they say, wow, that story is amazing and it's super inspiring that you're doing this work today, but my story is not unique. For many immigrants here in my district, for the children of immigrants in my district, my story is not unique. That is the story of everyday Alhambrians and folks in Monterey Park, because government doesn't work for them. And I'm running off of government services should not be reactive, but proactive. It shouldn't take you calling the city for things to work, for government services to work. And that's what I've done throughout my entire career, from working for Mayor Sasha Renee Perez, to running her campaign as her campaign manager for state senate, to serving as a commissioner in the city of Alhambra, fighting for young people, fighting for educators, fighting for parents, to serving as the president of the Alhambra Library Board, where I've been for the past 2 years. I fought for our community. When folks asked me to run for this board, I told them, I don't know, it sounds kind of crazy to me, right? Running for office at 18 years old. And it took a little time and talking to folks, but it wasn't just folks in politics asking me to run. It was folks in this community. It was friends, it was neighbors. As I've knocked on doors, I don't go up to doors telling them, hey, my name is Nick, I'm the president of the Alhambra Library Board, I've done this, that, and that. I tell them, my name's Nick, I grew up down the street from you. I went to local public schools. I know this community. And there aren't folks in politics asking me to run, it's this community asking me to run. It's friends asking me to run. It's neighbors, it's students, it's the parents of students I went to school with. I'm running for the SJV Water Board for a number of reasons, but what it really comes down to is working families and Asian Americans. This race is a majority Asian American seat. It's also a D+31 seat. We are proud to be the only Democrat in this race. We're endorsed by the Los Angeles County Democratic Party, Senator Susan Rubio, council member from Monterey Park, Jose Sanchez, commissioners from all over, and the California State Treasurer, Fiona Ma. But more importantly, we're being supported by neighbors, friends, and family in Alhambra and Monterey Park because they believe in my leadership and they know that I've delivered results for Alhambra and Monterey Park. I'm running on this board to make sure that we're saving money for residents by keeping property taxes and water rates low by working with local cities. Supporting local schools by funding hydration stations and sustainability projects. The last time that the SGB Water Board funded a local public school was 8 years ago. And in 2023, half of our grant money went to the city of Sierra Madre, the wealthiest city in the district. Nothing came back to the city of Alhambra. I'll make sure that we're supporting local schools here in the city of Alhambra, the city of Monterey Park, in the Alhambra Unified School District, and making sure that we're supporting our community, bringing dollars back to our community, expanding rebate programs for both residents and small businesses, delivering community projects to ensure safe and quality water, and all of this work that I'm fighting for is for working families. So I'm super excited to be running. We're running, we're going to knock every single door until election day. We're going to speak to folks and make sure that no one should be choosing between putting food on the table, paying their rent, or keeping the water running. And yeah, I'm super excited to be running, so happy to answer any questions, but thank you for having me.
I belong to the Rotary Club. I was president of the Rotary Club a couple of years ago. So when we talk about community service, it starts with Chamber of Commerce, it starts with service clubs, and it includes running for public office. I spent 12 years on the Alhambra City Council and was mayor 4 times in Alhambra. When they have term limits, when that finished, I joined the water board 8 years ago. I've learned a lot about water. I learned a lot about leadership, not only through Rotary, not only through being a council member, but being in Scouts. I'm an Eagle Scout. I've done a lot of work in town to show that I'm committed to this community. So we've kept, Mike and I have helped keep this community, our cities that we represent, with safe, dependable drinking water. We don't sell water to the cities, but we put the cities buy the water from us, from the California aqueduct. 70% of our water comes from rainfall, comes down from the sky, hits the ground in the mountains. It refreshes our aquifer. But the other 30%, the cities have to buy. The cities need supplemental water, so 30% of it comes from the California aqueduct. The state sells it to us. We put it in the ground. We store it at Silverwood Lake. Comes down a 35-mile pipeline, goes into the settling ponds at the 210 and the 210 and the 605 freeway. You'll see these big open ponds, and it seeps into the ground, and that provides water for the entire West San Gabriel Valley. Everybody that drinks water in the West San Gabriel Valley is drinking out of the same aquifer. 30% of it comes from Northern California, and that's what we take care of. We sell water to the city. We don't set water rates. We just make sure that everybody has dependable water to drink. There are certain projects that we support. So, Monterey Park is building a state-of-the-art water purification system to take out PFAS from their water. And San Gabriel Valley Municipal Water District gave them a $15 million interest-free loan, interest-free, that they pay off over 10 years once they start their system. And it hasn't started yet, but when it does, then they just pay us back. They also, while I was in my area of service, we also built the Alhambra water treatment facility that takes care of 3 wells in town, cleaning them up, but has capacity for another well. During COVID, residents were having trouble paying their water bills and their utilities. So the San Gabriel Municipal Water District gave money to the communities, to the cities, for their for their water system programs. So low-income families who had trouble making their bills, we helped with that. And finally, we have two things. We gave money for our communities to upgrade their water reservoirs, their tanks above water, to make them earthquake safe. So when there's an emergency, we already took care of that. We addressed it before it started. And then finally, we have We have rebate programs from low flush toilets to washing machines to sprinkler controllers and nozzles on the sprinklers to moisture sensors that won't allow the sprinklers to overwater. So we're trying our best to give residents the best possible way to conserve water. We're putting the power in the residents' hands to take care of water conservation. And you don't need to go up to Azusa where the headquarters is. You can go right on your own computer and look up your city's website or the San Gabriel Municipal Water District website and apply for these rebates. You don't have to go anywhere. You can sit right here on your phone and do it. So it's a great program. We give out a lot of rebates. So anybody interested that lives in the 4 cities that include Azusa, Sierra Madre, Monterey Park, and Alhambra can apply for those. And Alhambra and Monterey Park has gotten the bulk of our money. They're the bigger of all the cities. They get most of the money because of that. And we try very carefully to provide a per capita distribution of our funds. The money we collect and donate back to the community is based on a per capita. So Alhambra and Monterey Park get the bulk of that money. All right. I am very proud to run for this office. We're a great board. We do great things, and I'm hoping to do another
that you want to solve in the municipal water district that will enhance the community. You as being in that position. So can you give the plan that you have to solve the issues?
Go ahead.
Well, my primary reason for running for the Shady Water Board is because of my community. I never ever saw myself running for office. I'm running for office because in conversation with my community, friends, neighbors, and family, I decided to run for the SGB Water Board. You know, I got into this work into politics and the SGB because of working families and families like my own. But my hope, everything that I'm running off is making sure that we're supporting local schools, so bringing money back to our community. It's looking like keeping water rates low by working with our local cities and supporting our local cities to make sure that we're keeping water rates low. So that's the primary reason for me running for this seat, and making sure that we're showing up, bringing dollars back, and fighting for our community and working families. Two of my top priorities for this seat is making sure that everything comes back to working families, right? So it looks like things like rebates. Currently the SGB Water Board has rebates, but those rebates are very, very low. On some of these rebates, it might be $90 for a new washing machine. But $90 for a water-efficient washing machine isn't going to get you far, so I want to make sure that we're supporting folks so that they can afford these washing machines and other appliances. Make sure that we have a sliding scale, right? So if you're lower income, we're making sure that we're supporting you a little bit more and offering higher rebates no matter your income. It's looking like things like supporting small businesses, right? Conservation also means saving money, and that's been the part that has been missing for this entire conversation. Oftentimes folks are saying, conserve water is the right thing to do. It's not just the right thing to do, it's a smart thing to do. Because we're saving money for everyday families, right? So make sure that we're having rebates for residents and small businesses and seeking out those grants. There's matching grants from the Bureau of Reclamation offer grants to water districts like our own that the water district has been taking advantage of.
My kids all reside in the city. My kids are now 15 and 14, and they both grew up in the city. So we've been there a long time. In regards to my background, I was born in Mountain View, California. My parents are from Taiwan. My grandparents are from Ningbo, China. My grandfather was in the Air Force. He escaped communist China during the war and took my grandmother to Taiwan. And my parents immigrated from Taiwan, actually to Paraguay first, so they know how to speak Spanish. And then from Paraguay, they came to the United States. And my brother and I were both born in California. So I went to school initially at UC Berkeley for electrical engineering and computer science. And I worked at JPL and Raytheon for the first part of my career. And then I went to law school in the evening to learn about our legal system, because I feel like it's really important for everyone to be educated on how the legal system works, how to protect themselves in case they ever find themselves in court. So I learned about the legal system and ended up switching over from engineering into intellectual property law. So I spent the first part of my career helping clients file trademarks, patents, copyrights, doing both prosecution and litigation work. And then shifted over, I started off at Big Law, and then from Big Law ended up starting my own practice after I had kids and wanted more work-life balance. And started my own practice. We expanded into family law, estate planning, and also civil litigation and business law. So my main office is currently in Monterey Park on the corner of Garvey and Garfield. We've expanded outside the city as well. We have offices in Orange County, in downtown, and we're opening a new office later next month in Pasadena. So I've served in the city for over 10 years. I've been on 4 different commissions. I've been on Design Review Board, which I served on with Tammy. I've been on Parks and Recreation, the Community Participation Commission, and I'm currently the chair of the Business Improvement District Advisory Council, which governs the area of Garvey and Garfield, Central Monterey Park, a few blocks north, east, south, and west of that intersection. We actually just had a meeting earlier today. We're planning a Taste of Monterey Park for our city to showcase the dozens of restaurants in the downtown Monterey Park area. So it's not for all the restaurants in Monterey Park, it's mainly to showcase the downtown area, because the downtown area actually pays an extra BDAC tax. It's not a lot, $134 a year, but by paying that tax, they get all the benefits that BDAC offers. So maybe when the other restaurants on Atlantic, further west on Garvey find out the Taste of Monterey Park event, they're gonna say, hey, we want to be part of BDAC, we're willing to pay this tax, to get all the advantages, for the programs that we're creating. So I am running for City Council, a few issues. So number 1 is public safety. I don't know if you guys heard, but we recently had 2 pretty bad burglaries. One of them stole someone's parents' entire retirement savings. They came in broad daylight, had a van, 3 adults came and took a heavy safe and just loaded it into the vehicle. Personally, my family has been the victim of mail theft as well. We actually caught footage of someone coming right to our doorstep, also broad daylight, and just stealing packages. So as I'm door knocking every day, I'm talking to all the residents, and a lot of people are telling me that they're encountering the same issue. So what I'm doing is I'm having the Monterey Park Police Department do as many meet and greets as possible, so that they can teach residents about how to take care of themselves, crime prevention, public safety. I'm actually hosting one at my house on October 1st, 6 to 7 p.m. If you guys are interested in coming to ask questions to the Monterey Park Police, let me know, and I'd be happy to extend an invitation to you all. We did one about a month ago at my office, and the Monterey Park Police came and spoke to everyone and gave us really good information. I did a ride-along with them just for a few hours, and within those few hours, I learned so much about how to keep our family and community safe. So highly recommend communicating and working with law enforcement to learn about what's going on and inform neighbors as well, because there's so many residents that have no idea what's going on and how to protect themselves. Homelessness is another issue that's expanding in Monterey Park, because the Olympics are coming soon in 2028, and we're very close to downtown LA. So downtown is trying to clean up their act in order to look nice for the Olympics, and unfortunately Monterey Park is right at the end of the gold line. So a lot of the homeless people are, if they hop on the gold line and they ride to the very end, they end up in Monterey Park and they see what a beautiful city we have, and a lot of them end up staying here. So law enforcement is trying to, work with the community to tackle the homeless problem as well. And I'm trying to get the word out to everyone that if there's a problem, we need to report it. What law enforcement is facing is they don't have people telling them. There was one incident on Garvey where there was a business building that was not utilized, and homeless people started going to the roof. And then months went by where it wasn't reported to the police, and there was a whole camp that ended up getting in the roof. There was like a whole group of homeless people. When the Monterey Park Police was finally informed, they had such a hard time cleaning up that area. But if it was notified to them sooner, they could have prevented that. So we really need to work together with law enforcement. Another issue is affordable housing. So as I'm door knocking, I'm getting two sides. There's always two sides to every story. And I'll end here because I feel like I talked enough. So the last issue is affordable housing. The landlords, the property owners in Monterey Park want the values to go higher, right? They want rent to go higher so that they can collect more rent. But of course, the tenants want housing to be cheaper because they're like, everything's getting so expensive. We're not able to afford the high prices. So they want rents to go lower. So it's got to be a balance between the two. And we do have some projects that are currently in the works where there's probably going to be mixed use projects with retail on the first floor and residential on the 7th floor. So it's important to offer affordable housing to tenants who can afford the expensive prices. But it's also important to continue bringing our city values up so that people want to move into the city. All right, so open for any questions later, but thank you for the opportunity, Dora and Vincent.
Steven Yee Mac, I'm running for a judge at the Superior Court, Office 135. I want to thank Peter and Buck for inviting me. I met them yesterday for coffee, and they said that it would be a great opportunity for me to introduce myself. There's a big challenge of running for judge because we don't run as a part of a political group. We run as who we are to show that our experience and our prior responsibilities allow us to serve in this way where we are impartial and fair when the community comes to us with the disputes and crimes so that we can make decisions that further justice. So I'm here to tell you a little bit about myself. There are some soldiers here who work for the LA area battalion for recruiting for the military. I started in the military as a 92 Golf. I'm not going to put them on the spot, but they know what a 92 Golf is. That's a food service specialist. That's a cook, essentially. And the first unit I served in was along the Bay Bridge. When you go on the toll to go towards San Francisco, when you look to the left, there is a water treatment plant. Behind that water treatment plant is the old Oakland Army base. And that was my first unit in 2003. So I've been in the military for over 21 years. I'm currently a lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army Reserve. In 2012, I deployed to Afghanistan. I was responsible for all of the logistics operations that covered the theater. I was a fiscal legal advisor, which meant that I ensured that everything that happened in the country followed the laws of Congress. And I'm telling you this because it's an example of the type of responsibility and decisions that I've made so that I could serve the role of being a judge. When I came back home, like many service members, you start thinking about what to do, how to continue working, what to do with your life. I applied to the DA's office, so I'm a deputy district attorney now. Jackie Lacey hired me. I'm eternally grateful for her because she gave me this opportunity, not because I interviewed with her, but she allowed me an interview from Afghanistan. I talked to her on Skype at that time for maybe 10 minutes, and she gave me that chance, and I came home and I had a job working as a trial attorney. From there, I advanced to become a gang prosecutor. So 2018, I was elected to the gang unit. My responsibility now is dealing with the most complex murder cases that happen in our city. I'm responsible for this area called Rampart. It's an area in LA by MacArthur Park. Many of the families that live there are families like myself who are immigrants. who grew up in Compton. My family first lived in South Central LA. That's where I was born. That's where I went to school. There are many problems that need addressed and need our help. As a deputy DA, we thankfully make decisions about a small part of it. It requires everyone to come together as a community to fix the larger problems that our cities face. And that's why it's important that people like everyone here come and care about our community, care about our people, and care about our country. And that's who I am. I'm running for judge for 135. Hope you have had a chance to meet me. Hope you believe that my demeanor, my experience, and my views will really serve our town. So thank you for your time, and I hope I earn your vote.
Thank you. Okay, one question. What does APAC stand for?
So I forgot to mention my endorsements. So just yesterday, the LA Times endorsed me and wrote an article about what the 5 judges that are endorsed. I'm also endorsed by many of the organizations that are important for this community, the San Gabriel Valley, the IAPAC, that supports leaders in the Asian community to run for a political office. I'm also endorsed by the ALAD, which is the union for the sheriffs. I'm supported by many Democratic clubs. I'm supported by many of the unions, and I'm supported by hopefully many of you here in this room. Thank you.
Advocacy. You have an advocacy for serving the people besides being running for judge. You have an advocacy in your advocacy.
So when you run for judge, you're bound by the judicial canons. So one of the main ideas about the judicial canons is that you cannot express views about legislation or cases or issues that may come before you. And as a judge, you may be asked to sit in all kinds of different courtrooms. A criminal court, family court, civil court, which involves many of the issues that we care about as businesses, we care about as people. So that's why, as a judge, it's difficult as a campaign because you cannot come out and start talking about what you would do. It's a little bit of a struggle there. That's why many of the candidates have to talk about who they are as a person. It's a very personal and exposing type of way to run for office. But in order to achieve this, that is what we have to do.
The people of the community with the city council or the department to address those issues concerned by the people of Monterey Park. What is your plan to address better connecting the people with the city council? How do you plan that one? Seems to be there is a lot of information that we need to connect. So how do you address this? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for the question, Jeffrey. So I think communication and accessibility is super important. One of our current council members, Bino, has actually done something that's I think is really productive, which is he has hosted meetings for community members and residents to get together and talk about issues and share their thoughts. You know, like right now I'm going door to door, I'm hearing the thoughts of residents, but I think if we have a forum for everyone to get together on a regular basis and talk and communicate, and then the council members can bring it back to city council, then that's going to be really efficient. One other thing on the side that your question is reminding me of is, in Monterey Park, we actually have an app called MPK Go, and I'm realizing a lot of our residents don't know about the app. And so they'll tell me like, oh, you know, my neighbor has a bunch of trash on the sidewalk, and I don't know how to report it to the city. So I'll tell them, you can just download the app, take a picture, report it to the city, and it goes straight to the correct department, and they're really responsive. They respond in a few days. But some of our residents don't know about this technology that the city has already implemented. So I think having regular meetings will, be a good way to get information disseminated to as many people as possible.
Correct. Following that plan that you have, this is a great plan that you have. I agree with that. But how would you? Thank you so much. You have a very great plan. That's a very, I agree with that. And that's one way to connect with the concerns of the community, with the issues with the police department, blah, blah, information. But how would you enhance? There are a lot of people in our community who doesn't speak English. Probably they are intimidated because is there a way that if there is a way we could have these people, be able to access, because they can speak English and they want to connect their problem, but they can't speak English. How do you address it?
Well, we're actually very fortunate in our city staff. We have a lot of bilingual staff members. I'm personally bilingual. I speak Mandarin, and Jose speaks Spanish. So we have a lot of bilingual council members and bilingual staff. Whenever there's events, they usually will provide translators. So if someone goes into the city and they report an issue, usually they can find someone who speaks their language. And the most popular languages in the city is Mandarin, Cantonese, and Spanish. There's a large Japanese population as well, but we do have resources in the city that provide translation services.
And for everyone, I think that spoke tonight, the one resounding theme that I heard was service. And so I want to thank everyone who's running, because it does take a lot of time, it does take a lot of effort, and sometimes you wonder and think about why I'm doing this. But I think all of us have specific reasons why we're doing this, and what type of changes we want to see in our community. I'm happy to say that I'm a teacher. I've been teaching for over 20 years now. I teach here in Alhambra. My wife also teaches. She teaches at Municipal. And my service started in the classroom. I still teach. It's something that I'm very proud of. It's something that gets me up every morning, aside from my kids. I also have kids, and part of the reason why I'm running is because I want to leave a community to my children that was much better than what I got. I want to make sure that when the day comes when I have to leave and my children get my home, that they decide to live in Monterey Park and the community that they decide to stay, because the community that we built in Monterey Park is much better than the community that we have first received. I will share a story with you because it was a very difficult decision for my family for me to run, because I'm working full time. I have 3 kids. I'm a very busy person, especially with my family. But during the pandemic, I experienced as a teacher a lot of the social problems that we have in our society were exponential in the classroom. Kids who suffered from food insecurities, didn't have internet, all of a sudden became homeless because their parents lost their homes. These were serious issues that I was dealing with within my classroom. And they're just a microcosm of what's really going on in our communities. So I felt like, and this is a bigger conversation with my wife, how do we address these issues? How do we become involved? Because our limit within our classroom is so small, right? We only see students for 55 minutes, 5 times a week. There's only so much we can do, right? And so we decided to become more involved within our community. I decided to run and try to make that type of change, right? As teachers, my wife and I during the pandemic were delivering food to families that were suffering from food insecurity. I was doing a survey of all of my students. You'd be surprised, a lot of them have the internet to do their homework at a time period when we were all on Zoom. So these were some serious issues that families were facing, along with housing, right? So I'm happy to say that in the last 2 years, being a council member, there's also a huge learning curve, transferring from being a classroom teacher to being a council member, that we've done so much in Monterey Park in the last 2 years. We also have to realize And I want to start with the positive that in Monterey Park we've done, despite the pandemic and despite everything that happened when we walked down, Monterey Park is working really hard, just like Elizabeth Yang said, to bring more development into the city. We recently opened up a new hotel, in fact two, right? The Courtyard, which is an amazing space. I'm running into Tammy in there, working. My wife goes and works there as well sometimes as well, running with our students there. It's such an inviting space, so that's kind of the type of stuff that we need and need to continue to build in Monterey Park. We also have another hotel, the Holiday Inn, which we did a ribbon cutting for very recently, and we have tons of other businesses that are coming in and a lot of development projects that are coming as well. I live in, or I represent the southern part of Monterey Park, which is south of Brightwood, District 3, and it also includes Eli, it includes Atlantic Square in that area, and for those of you who drive through there, and when I was running for office and knocking on doors, one of the things that people constantly told me was, what is going on in that plaza? Why is it empty? Why aren't there businesses there? So I made it a personal mission, and the developers here, I'm sure doesn't necessarily like me too much, but the point is we were trying to bring development to that area and help developers like here bring more development, and Henry is here, he can also attest to that. But this is also a time period when we also, if you remember, suffered a mass shooting in Monterey Park. And when that happened, in every community that happens, no one ever, the question that the thing that people always say is, you never thought this would happen in our community, and it did. Okay, and I'm proud to say that Monterey Park stepped up, and we were led and helped with the healing that happened in our community. Monterey Park responded not just by helping our community heal, but also by passing serious gun legislation and ordinances within our city. In fact, we just had a meeting with Alhambra Unified about trying to bring education to parents and families, because sadly, you saw the school year just started. We just had a mass shooting at a school in Georgia. Right? What a way to start the school year. And so we want to make sure that we are keeping our community safe, we are keeping our schools safe, and a lot of that. And then that's something that I'm very passionate about and happy to share. That's why I'm endorsed by Moms Demand Action, Every Time for Gun Safety, and I'm also endorsed by mayors against illegal guns. So anyhow, in fact, right after the shooting, my colleague Henry, who will speak in a minute, he was mayor when this happened, and I became mayor 4 days afterwards. So we both share this, this bond that we made because of this that happened. But I felt like one of the things that I could do to honor the victims was to help pass legislation. So I went up to Sacramento, I joined Moms Demand Action, and I lobbied for a whole weekend. I spent a couple of days there to make sure that we were passing, and we're lucky to have a great and assembly member here in Assembly District 49, and Mike Fong, who also became a champion, and of course our amazing Congresswoman Judy Chu. So I'm also endorsed by both of them, and by the Monterey Park Democratic Club, by our mayor, Thomas Wong. But just to go back, I'm running unopposed in District 3, so I don't need your vote anymore, I'm just kidding. but I'm humbled by that, and I'm running again with my wife's permission. That was the first person I asked, is it okay if I run? And there was, again, another big conversation because it does involve a lot of time. But we also believe within our family the importance of serving. And so she's my confidant, she's my best friend, and she's also the person I run all my ideas through. And so I always feel great every time I say something because I also ran it through her first, and she agreed. But anyhow, I'm happy to run again and serve in District 3, and also continue the great work that we are currently doing, and hopefully within the next 4 and 8 years, Monterey Park, with the help of all of us, because we all know that it takes a village, Monterey Park will look a little bit different. We'll see a lot more development. It will be obviously a lot safer. It will be a place that our kids will want to call home. Thank you.
Introduction again, my name is Henry Lowe. I currently represent 4th District. Thank you. As City Council in Monterey Park. I was elected in the year 2020, and I had the privilege when I was elected to serve with Peter Chan, whom I regard as actually my mentor, and certainly when I was transitioning to becoming a council member, I really relied on, like Peter, and his experience to guide kind of a new council member into the city, and also, you know, talk about what a moment, because I still remember 2 weeks after the election of March 2021, they declared a pandemic. And I think that none of us probably had anticipated what would be in store. I know I didn't. I mean, I had to honestly, like, I was having dinner with some friends, and I said to myself, what is this COVID thing they're talking about? I should be over within a month or two and we'll be back to normal. I obviously I stand to correct it. But I would say this though, that I think this is where, when they say it's in time of adversity in which a community really finds itself and meets the moment. And I will say that I am very proud of Monterey Park for meeting the moment during the pandemic. And certainly it was a difficult time for all of us, but you know, when I look back and reflect on the fact that we had the highest vaccine rates in the Sangamo Valley, one of the lowest infection rates. And I credit that to, you know, not just the city council working together, but also our staff, making sure that we work with partners like Harold Christian Health Center, Chinatown Service Center, to make sure that the information was out there, you know, masking, and also vaccines became available. And furthermore, when vaccines became available, you know, we as a city, working with Alhambra, and the Alhambra Unified School District and the Gabriel School District to provide vaccines to teachers, because we know that everyone wanted to make sure their kids were back in the classroom, but we had to vaccinate the teachers first, and that was really a proud moment to see us working together, and so that's why I think we've weathered the pandemic, you know, and certainly we had our challenges, and I remember, you know, a lot of our businesses were probably struggling, and this is where I know my colleagues, you know, working with Peter, Yvonne, Hans, and Fritz, and also may he rest in peace. You know, we want to make sure that our restaurants were supported, because we know that, you know, Monterey Park is known for the diversity of its restaurants and its food, but we also want to make sure that they did not weather the challenges alone, and that is where I was very proud that we, working with companies like Fan and Uber Eats, that we essentially work with them to provide low-cost fees so these restaurants can take advantage of those services while continuing to also deliver food and also keep their employees in business. You know, I know my colleague Jose Sanchez talked about how, again, we as a community came together resilient in the face of the worst mass shooting in LA County history. But also at the same time, we were fortunate, again, because of leaders like Congressman G. Chu, we worked closely with the SBA, Small Business Administration. Secretary Isabel Guzman toured our downtown Monterey Park. In fact, some of you were a part of that tour. And I'm really proud to say that in the aftermath, we were able to provide low, in some cases zero interest loans, again, to help the businesses impacted by the tragedy of the shooting. And so, you know, what I often say time and time again is that, you know, we're the community, you know, and again, I know we're in Alhambra, but everyone loves our city, but I will say that I really love Monterey Park. You know, again, I think our motto is so cool, you know, pride in the past, faith in the future. And I look at, you know, how we have weathered our challenges, and we continue to face our challenges as a community, and that's where I'm just extremely proud and honored to be a council member, you know, and also, you know, when I look around my community, and not just the people who serve on the city council, but also the staff, but also the people who volunteer their time, you know, I mean, you know, I see some commission over there, so hello, you know, and again, these are people who on their own time volunteer. Our planning commission, our library board of trustees, our traffic commission, parks and recs. They are part of our shared governance in this city, and again, you will not find a more finer, qualified people than the folks who serve in our city. You know, thank you, thank you.
That's right.
You know, and you know, despite our challenges of the pandemic, we still were able to focus on what things we thought were important to our residents. For example, you know, for years, residents talked about how the roads needed paving, and so what did we do? We, you know, well, of course, we took advantage of low interest rates and bond funding, but we were able to repave many of our resident streets, our parks. almost every park has now refurbished playgrounds. So looking to housing policy, we are one of the cities that has our housing element approved by the state of California, as well as adopting policies like this Missouri housing ordinance to make sure that encouraging development, but also make sure that those who are also looking to buy in the community, start a family, that they have the opportunity to buy a home like all of us did. We enacted a update to our climate action plan, which is now a green sustainability plan. Because we know that we have to do our part in addressing climate change, making sure our communities are resilient, and I'm really proud that we, stepped up to make sure that we do our part of the climate, as well as looking at issues like traffic and how do we become a vision zero, a complete streets community in which we are also looking at alternative modes of transportation, because again, we want to get people, to work, to school, but do it safely, and also make sure that we are pedestrian friendly. And so there's a lot of things that we have just done to be forward thinking, as well as being at the moment when our community needs us. And I could stand here probably for 2 more hours talking about everything I think we've done, but I don't want to stand between dinner and us. But again, I want to thank all of you for allowing me to speak. I'm going to remain, because I haven't eaten dinner yet, and really, looking forward to having a little conversation with all of you. So thank you so much.